Jordan.
Yes, ma'am.
Call to order. Let's do pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So,
Could I get a roll call, please?
yeah.
Mrs. Hoover? Here. Dr. Crew?
Here.
Mrs. Crew? Here. Mrs. Leap? Here. Ms. Phillips?
Here.
Mr. Basil?
Here.
Mrs. Vaxmansky? Here. Mrs. Wolf? Ms. Zinchuk? Here. Okay, and we're going to give notice that we had an executive session today, March 3rd, 2026, from 5 to 5:55 p.m. to talk about personnel and contracts. And we have an addendum to the agenda, and I'd like to motion to amend the agenda.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Who seconded it?
Jenna, thank you. Motion carries.
And then Karen, that will be posted after the meeting or within 24 hours of the meeting, the amended agenda.
Oh, okay. I thought you said we could do it after 24 hours. We did it the last time.
We'll do it within 24 hours.
Oh, if I can. I only found that. Yes, I will.
Okay, we'll get it on the website tomorrow. Yeah.
It's already on the website.
Yeah, it's good. That's
Okay.
okay.
I thought you meant, okay.
I think it was a miscommunication.
It was, it's already on the, it
I'm
was
like, you're
this
doing
morning.
it. Then we're good. All right.
Also, I noticed, I did speak to some folks from the borough this morning, and I'm so happy to see you here at the meeting. We have a sign-up sheet for guests and patrons. If there's anything you wanted to say at the beginning of the meeting, you're welcome to do that. Yeah. I know you might not know our procedure.
No, I don't.
So welcome, Vicki. So we do have one person for guests and patrons. If you could just state your name and where you live.
I'm Vicki Basile. I'm from 904 10th Street, Northern Cambria. I'm here because of the high school. I know you guys reached out to, or you at least have, Danielle, reached out to Borough Council, trying to come up with something to do with that high school. I can tell you on the Borough Council side of it, you could set up a meeting with the planning committee there and see which direction the Borough Council would go in. I'm more here to speak on NCCDC's half, Northern Cambria Community Development Corporation. We had tried with Johnstown School District, because they had an old school, to go after low-income tax credits for the elderly, for elderly housing.
Okay.
And we did, I wrote myself notes. So we had an agreement with them that the Johnstown School District would continue to pay all the costs for the property, but we did sign an agreement that we were searching for tax credits. That can take 3 to 4 years to get tax credits. So if that's an avenue you would want to visit, you could contact Matt Marzak, myself, at the NCCDC office. But they wanted to do the same thing, create elderly housing. And they would still have access to the gymnasium that was on the property. So we would have had no problem with that, also working with them. And I think you guys wanted the cafeteria or something. Was there something thrown in
We
there?
have been talking generally about that plan, and it was part of it. At this point, we're just exploring how we could make that happen, and we want you guys involved, and we want representation from the other districts, or the other boroughs, or our township and municipalities, thank you. So everyone's represented, but we're at the very beginning stages, and I do appreciate.
Okay, so like if we would get the development, it would also be agreed upon, you guys would still pay a percentage of whatever the utilities would cost for that building with access to, whether it be the gym or the cafeteria, whatever up there. Let me see what else. we would try to obtain the tax credits. And why tax credits? Because conventional financing does not work in this area. We would have to charge like $2,000 a month for rent to even maybe cash flow. So without any source of income for like the tax credits, it's unfeasible for us. And with the low income tax credits, your elderly would probably in this area qualify immediately by income. If you guys remember Crawford Commons up on the south side of town, that was a tax credit property and the school district gave us that property, and that property has been there since 1996. It's always at full capacity there. So that's just a thought. Now my wait list, because we managed the one in Hastings too. 3 cottages and then we built 2 other ones before going up towards the hospital there. So we managed that one too. That one also works very well for us, it's elderly. I manage 10 properties in Cambria and Indiana County, but our organization is tied within 13 counties across the state of Pennsylvania. But it is a big job because of course we'd have to get architects, you know, think of a design plan, and like at Crawford Commons, everything's included there, so even their electric, it's a big expense for us. So like with the school being such a large building, maybe we would have to consider like putting individual meters in each unit if it ever got that far.
Right.
So this way then the tenant could pay at least the electric.
Yeah.
But those are just some thoughts,
Yeah.
throw it actually from the NCCDC side.
Thanks. It sounds like we'll have a lot to talk about when we finally all get together at the table and have some options to consider for the building.
Right. But Matt Barzak is my boss, he's the executive director of NCCDC, and he's also on the planning committee for the borough council. So,
I got one question over this. If the high school was so bad, we got rid of it, counted the kids, and you wanna put senior citizens in the building, I don't understand it.
well, that would all, of course, for us, on our side of it, depending on, you know, we'd have architects, everything look at that. If that building would be too much money to do anything with it, of course then, and we couldn't get the money to do it.
Well, that's what it was, it said it's too much for the school district to fix it up. Why wouldn't it be too much money for you to fix it up?
Just because tax credits may be looked at differently than whatever their funding source was.
We're just exploring ideas
Excuse me?
we're exploring ideas to get use of the building and would do what would be best and
Well,
not
we did
burden the
try
taxpayers, so.
Johnstown School District, but they never got the funding. We went several times back after the funding, and we just never got it. Who's to say Northern Cambria wouldn't get it? We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, different demographic. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Okay, so the first area is building and grounds.
Administrative reports.
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped right over. Administrative report.
I wanted to give a somewhat of an update on the building project. And, you know, and I know in my time here in the last 3 months, you know, walking through the hallways and, you know, even at the old building, you know, people approach me and we have a great opportunity here for the public to be proud of this building. And, you know, I'm very proud of it, and it's a great opportunity for everybody to be proud of it, because I know that it's where a lot of the community gathers, and we expect them to continue to gather there. The gymnasium floor, you know, all structural repairs related to the change orders and punch list are completed and finished. We're currently addressing some minor paint touch-ups. Once the district, you know, whether it's myself and you know, the board committee, the board approves the final paint work, there'll be 2 more final coats of sealer. They'll be applied, and we are also monitoring the humidity for the application of those 2 final layers of sealant. We need it to be between 30 and 55% to ensure the sealer cures properly. We're pleased to report that the overheated panels under the windows have been fully addressed. We're working with SiteLogic, and SiteLogic kind of is our partner in the heating and ventilation systems. So there are project managers, but they're also working with us to work on the heating and ventilation systems. They're fixing windows. There was a room 278, you know, I know that people listen to us. 278, we're addressing a missing threshold. We're missing some ceiling titles. We're working on, regarding the boilers, we're consulting with CS&E about the boiler, sequencing to see if we need to revert. Right now it's tri-fuel, and we wanna make sure we're set up for the proper fuel consumption, so coal to, oil to then our backup generator, and we wanna make sure we're in that proper sequencing, and we have labor, and we're really excited for Mr. Mattori to join us next Tuesday as his start date. So we know that we have a plate full of items, and we don't want that plate overfilling, so there's things that Brandon and I, Mr. Ashurst and I will still be, working with Mr. Mattori as we hand those things off. Also, I know that a few items that fall under our internal maintenance were outside of the scope of the specific construction project. That includes some furniture, some of the hardware for the doors, some of the floor waxing were all internal things that we're still taken care of. And at times, I know, again, walking through the buildings, being out in public, people say, hey, that was the project, and the project this, and at times we're right spot on, and other times it was internally owned, and we have to take ownership of that. Waxing some of the floors, waxing the art room, things like that we wanna take under our ownership and make sure that we get those addressed internally as well. And then, let me look what else I have on here. Classroom blinds, that was an internal item, and we're addressing those, and we have some students that are light sensitive and sun sensitive, and we're prioritizing those rooms to replace, or not replace, but to place blinds in those rooms, and then we're moving on to the other rooms as well. That's a little bit of a buildings and grounds update. We look forward to, fully unveiling everything. I have an item on my report that I'll postpone for legislative about cell phone. And I asked the school counselors, Ms. Mastrini and Principal Ms. Prebish, to be present at our full board meeting to give us a post-graduation, kind of how are our students aware of post-graduation opportunities, whether it's the workforce, whether it's trade schools, whether it's traditional four-year colleges, whether it's the military. What are they aware of, and then what do our students do? So they're gonna give a nice presentation on what we currently do and things that are on the horizon of what our guidance team and our school counselor teams do for those students to make them aware. I know as a parent, I have a senior, sometimes I don't know what's going on, and I think, well, heck, he doesn't know anything, and really the school's doing A, B, and C, and he's just not eating what they're trying to feed him, and he's just a typical 18-year-old young man. So I have to come to that acceptance at times. And then just a congratulatory statement. On Saturday, the 28th, last Saturday, our Northern Cambria powerlifting team went to Ligonier Valley for a powerlifting competition. Our team placed second in the competition, and we only had 8 participants, and you're allowed 12, so we were a smaller group that was going over there. And of the 8 lifters that competed, all 8 earned a spot on the podium. So I congratulate those young athletes and look forward to hosting our own event here in 2 weeks. Is it? Yeah, 2 weeks. Which I think is gonna be a really unique event because of space and because of where we're doing it at. We are doing it in the auditorium. It's a very well, for powerlifting, I think it'll be really great because we have a real great front area in our auditorium. And then the fans and the spectators can really sit in the seats, and it's really viewer friendly. I've been to some powerlifting competitions where it's not very fan friendly, not very viewer friendly. I think this is gonna be unique. So I'm looking forward to that, and I thank Mr. Schutte for his work with the powerlifters, and also the board for supporting these, non-typical student activities, so thank you.
What date is that?
March 14th.
March
March
14th.
14th.
Okay, business.
Two quick
Yeah,
questions. Was there ever anything that had been done with the stage in did that get taken care of, whatever we had seen?
Yes,
Yes, that was taken care of.
yes. They are going to, do you wanna?
Well, no, you're intimately involved in that as well, and, I mean, we're gonna, so,
It still needs addressed though, whatever they're gonna be doing, it sounds like.
one of the areas on the front lip, the front moldings, we're addressing. I know there were some white spots that looked powdery and we have been told, and I think we've come to terms with, not that we're accepting shoddy work, we're accepting that some of the white was
He said it was a chemical or something.
other things that were done over the last 40 years on that stage. So I think that will dissipate with time, is what we've been told. So, and also from the stands, I think it's less visible. I know when I sit in the stands, I don't sit there and go, oh my gosh, there's white powder on this stage. I think it's not even noticeable.
You can't even see it.
Yeah, I mean, you were in the audience for NHS, did it jump out at you?
No,
It doesn't.
not at all.
No, there was a curtain behind us,
Yeah.
I'll give you that. And I was on the stage for NHS induction and nothing jumped out at me as either, so I think it's dissipating as time goes on.
Okay.
And there's gonna be some additional sealer on those steps, and then where some of that, there's bleeding
The red
from
blood.
the one, stain color to the other, they're fixing that. And then the lip across the front of the stage is gonna fix the visual of,
That trim piece or whatever it
Yeah.
is? Yes, I remember that, okay.
and then there's gonna be like a reflective strip on the inside, so that people on the stage, when they're coming forward, know where the edge of the stage is.
That makes sense.
And so it's gonna serve like two purposes, and that should be done here within, it might
I
already be done.
hesitate to give a time frame.
But it's underway, yeah.
Thank you. And then the gym, a couple coats you said, and they're gonna monitor.
Two more, well, we're not gonna apply well, not us, but they are not gonna apply the final 2 coats of sealant, of acrylic, and I may have misspoke with acrylic, but whatever the substance is, they're not gonna apply those final 2 until the humidity levels are correct. Right now, we're in very dry, even though it was icing and raining out, we're very dry humidity, so they want them to be proper, but,
The floor is
they're
flat?
doing the paint, yeah, it's.
The floor is
yeah,
flat, everything is patched back in,
So it's
it looks
close.
good.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah,
There's the mascot book in the middle.
they are repainting, they're gonna be fixing the mascot, and before we put down the last layers of clear coat, whatever it is, we're gonna get to walk through and make sure
And
that it
approve
looks
it.
good, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm really excited, cause the floor is flat, and the places where there was the reverse cupping have been sanded, and when the final coats of clear coat go on, it's gonna look really nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank
Really
you.
proud, I mean, I'm proud of it, I've been in a lot of gyms throughout my life, and it's great, it's fun. And I think our students will be, really proud to have a site to call their own.
Thank you.
Brandon,
Alright, so the first thing I'll start with is the handout I provided for all of you. Mr. Basil asked me what our outstanding balances were for the construction project as well as the contingency funds that are remaining. So according to this, the district still owes $299,670.58, with our remaining contingency funds sitting at $209,057.15. The pending approved change order total has been updated with the most recent for the gym floor and for the H brackets that'll be put into the study rooms. As far as budgeting process goes, that is still ongoing. I plan to have something to provide to the board on that in 2 weeks. A big thank you to the teachers that have been completing their budgets. There's a deadline of Friday to get those done. They've been very, very timely with those, and I'm very appreciative of that. The dust collector shipment check has been sent as of yesterday and is set to arrive hopefully by the end of the week, if not the beginning of next week. To build off of what Dr. Bradley was saying as far as blinds, the first round of blinds have been ordered. They are planning to be here hopefully by the beginning of next week. With installation, I'm going to work with the contractor on that and try to hope to do that after school hours. Lastly, Mrs. Stuck and I have been working on updating our PDE 363. That is our funding formula for charter school tuition rates between regular education and special education students. As of now, due to Governor Shapiro's updates to that, we are looking at cost savings of around $4,000 to $6,000 per student, with 57 students currently enrolled in charter schools. So that'll be a big help to the district once we get that finalized tomorrow.
okay.
Thanks, Brandon.
And now cafeteria director, Kristen, do you have anything for us?
I don't actually.
Okay, good, I finally remembered you.
That's okay. You're fine. I did bring you guys, yesterday we celebrated Dr. Seuss's birthday, with our pre-K through 4th grade students at lunch. So I brought you birthday cake so you could celebrate with, the students as well, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay.
How old is that?
Okay, so the next item is, building, grounds and cafeteria. Item A, site logic updates, discuss updates from site logic about the building project. We've gotten through that already. Anybody have any more questions now that we've, okay. Item B, the old high school property. The Building and Grounds Committee will begin discussions for the future of the old high school property. Okay, so, as you know, we had talked previously about, over 2 years ago about going forward with the idea of trying to get the building to where the community could use it, where it's not a burden to the taxpayers. We could try to find some funding streams to, maintain some portion of the building so that we could continue to use the gymnasium when we need it and have those locker rooms there for the track, because we have that track up there and, So, I did talk to, I called Virginia Suchar on our Northern Cambria, Borough Council and asked her, if there would be Borough Council members who wanted to participate in the committee to kind of do the exploratory work to see where we go. They were very receptive to that. And I have, Christine has a contact with Congressman Fetterman's office, so she's gonna get back in touch with him. We have Diane on the Cambria County Planning Commission, so we've got that representation. Wayne Langerholk is always more than happy to help us out, and, he's expressed interest before, and his team actually came and toured the school. So I think they'll be happy to pick up where we left off. John Joyce's office has also offered to help us in any way that they can. And so this is, we're at the beginning stages, and if we can do this in a way that doesn't burden the community and doesn't burden the school, then I feel like that's what we want to do. But I think we'll be also ready if this doesn't work, we have to pivot and sell the building, then we want to be ready for that as well. So a portion of the committee, I'm going to want to be exploring how do we, what are the options for selling the building, who would our market be, and sort of working with the appraiser to come up with that plan as well. So I don't want it to just be like, I want it to be two concurrent plans in case we need to pivot if we find out the funding is not there. But again, just reiterating that we also want to have representation from Barr Township, and we want representation from Susquehanna Township, because we're all stakeholders here, not just the board members, but the community. We're all stakeholders in that property and the future of it. So, anybody else?
Yeah, one question.
Oh,
I hate to say it, I think all this situation about the high school should have been resolved before they built this school.
I
Now
appreciate
we're
your
in a
opinion.
bind.
Oh.
Why do people think?
Sir, if I could stop you for a second,
Excuse
we appreciate your comments. The time for public comment has passed, we're
Okay.
into the agenda now.
I apologize.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
That's okay.
Thank you for your comments, we do appreciate them though.
So anybody on the board?
No, I just like the fact that we're gonna look at we don't wanna look at something that we're necessarily gonna have to spend money on either, so I think if we can get funding for it, by all means, that'd be the best option, I think. But obviously, considering the fact that, if we can have money come in and also unload the building possibly for, that building's pretty old, so I don't know if anybody's gonna wanna take on that burden, but, we have to consider what we do because of the track up there too, though, in terms of
Yeah.
how we do that for locker rooms and things like that.
Yeah, I
But,
wanna make
Yeah,
sure-
it's good we're going both paths, I
Yeah.
guess what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of different opportunities with the different, just thinking of different opportunities, being
Yeah.
creative with that and making sure that we're not focused down one road.
Sorry, thank you.
And we find out halfway down that road that it's not gonna work out, I want us to have that option to
Yeah,
go the other
for sure.
direction, I'd love to see it stay, but if it can't, it can't.
I was just gonna say almost exactly the same thing. I, like the thoughts of having two plans. We don't wanna burden taxpayers with the cost of keeping the old high school. However, we know we need the gymnasium, we need the locker rooms, we need the parking for the track. So if we could come up with a plan where we can keep a portion of it, or an agreement where we would have access to part of it, that would be great. But as it's been said, if it's not feasible, then we have to be fiscally responsible.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of timeline
No.
to,
I mean,
I
I wanna be careful with that because I'm not sure we're really in the beginning stages. I wish we had done more with it over the last 2 years.
I wish we had done more before we started this project at
Well,
all,
That's, you know,
so.
so I just wanna be careful and measured about moving forward with it, and making sure that we are making the best decisions.
Well, I mean, it is a burden to keep maintaining that building, and so I just wanna know, I mean, the taxpayers have a right to know that.
They do, and I think for 2 years, we've kind of not done anything, so I wanna be careful before we, do anything or promise anything that we can't deliver on. And again, we're gonna have the concurrent plans happening so that we don't come up short. I think Norma might have been first.
I think time is of the essence because of the appraisal that we had done, and it took quite a bit of time because of that appraisal. But because it's done and completed in a timely manner, we might be locked into a certain time factor there, as you were saying, because I know Carol worked a lot with, the person who did the appraisal. So that's a worry too, because that will change all of those figures and then make that obsolete possibly.
Did you wanna report out on that at the next meeting, what you know from working with her?
No, I think we had one.
It's all here.
Yeah.
The appraisal's here.
I know the appraisal's here, but
Right.
could you report out on that since you were the one that was working with her?
Oh, maybe is there an expiration date for our appraisal?
I don't
or
know
anything
that.
like that?
Well, yeah, there
I
was,
mean, I don't think any appraisal, I mean,
well, yeah,
the appraisal
it's,
is just evaluation at the time, I mean, properties can go up or down, it's only worth what it was done at the time. I think we all recognize that the property can go up, it's just an appraisal at the moment it's done, you know.
Okay.
It's what the next person's willing to pay that
Yeah.
is basically what it's worth.
it's probably
Yeah.
expired, well, it is expired.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be worth it, you know, it might be worth teasing the market with that the property's available at the same time while we're chasing down the path. It's not like
Sure.
we have to sell just because we get an offer on or anything like that, but if you're doing it concurrently, you could always put it out there a little bit and see if there's interest in it at the same time while we're chasing down a path of grants, and so we're kind of doing both concurrently, like you said, so.
So Diane?
I was a member of the community, and I served on that committee a little bit, and then it just died a hopeless death. I think we owe it to the community to explore those options, because I know the library, for example, was at the meetings I attended. They were really excited about taking over the cafeteria. There were other groups that were at those original community meetings, and I think, you know, I think you're right. We need to explore and go down both avenues at the same time and give the community an opportunity to have some input into what happens to the high school, because we sort of asked them, and I know how I felt when it just stopped. And
I mean, we
it felt
could've
like
been-
we left a job undone.
Right, we could have been 2 years into it by now, or the building could have been sold in the last 2
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
So, and neither of those things happened. So, at this point, that's where we're going with it. Anybody
We
else?
found no grants or anything 2 years back, and that was actually a prime time for being able to acquire grants and things because of COVID, coming out of COVID and all that, so.
That's not really true.
I don't know where we are now, but I just, my worry is that the longer it sits, the more it's gonna cost us, and our taxpayer dollars should go into our new building, not our old one.
Right, I just would wonder why in the last 2 years we didn't get any of that urgency.
Guys, we all need to quit referencing 2 years ago, all of us. We are here today, it doesn't really matter. Let's
I
just,
think it's time to sell it.
we'll go down that path and see what, you know, best option is. I wouldn't necessarily disagree that yet, I don't know. I think we just need to see what we can afford, and we're gonna have to work with Brandon on that. We're gonna have to talk to Joyce, all those offices, and see if there's a way to get funding, but, you know, we're here now.
Well said.
Yep.
Well said.
Business and finance.
Yeah, I saw the budget in there, I mean, we get this every year, Brandon, I don't know if you haven't, this is probably your first time seeing it too, I'm assuming, so. that this is an annual thing we get provided, I don't know a lot about it, Joe, I don't know if you have anything to add on it.
You know, my experience is we have input, we have input on the budget, but at the end of the day, they provide services for us, they provide, access to PD in different ways than we have, and, they're our partner. The reasons that, IUs were established in the first place was to serve school districts. So we have we get something from them, but it's not like we say, go back to the drawing board and, sharpen your pencils, IU, and rewrite your budget. We really don't have that access, that opportunity.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
I can get more, I can try to get you more, or I can, I
I
know.
provide it every year, and
Yeah.
you never really do much with it.
I know I know Dr. Butler would absolutely either make himself available or, provide us for more information. If somebody jumps into that budget and sees an area that jumps out of them, I know Dr. Butler would absolutely, explain it or absolutely come up with a reason why why the budget moved from one area to another, and we just go from there. So, if you guys wanna reach out to me, and I can invite Dr. Butler, or I can get, a statement from him, anything like that, people want that, I can absolutely do that.
All good.
Thanks, Joe.
okay, nothing for community relations, curriculum instruction. All right, then legislation and policy development.
I have one question with curriculum instruction.
Okay.
Did they have the meeting yet each year? There's usually a meeting going in this far with like the principals for curriculum at this point. I didn't know, is that Diane?
Mhm.
If you happen to attend the meeting yet, and if you can
I
bring
was
back
not
to us.
invited to a meeting.
Okay, usually
So I
the
assume
beginning of
there
the
was.
year.
I'm not aware of any, I'm not, this is the
I'm not
first time.
aware of
Usually the
any.
beginning of the year, Mrs. Prebish usually takes the lead from the high school and then down with the curriculum where we sit, where we are, looking at course catalog and everything for next year.
See, I
I
thought
didn't know
that
if
was
any
in
of
the-
that happened yet.
No, I thought
Also-
that was in the spring that happened for the next year.
Well,
So
if
I
you have to
wasn't
start-
anticipating it yet.
You have to prepare like now, but also, just quick food for thought, and this might be pertaining to Brandon. Any books that are going to need purchased will need to be budgeted, and if we have a cycle yet. So
I'm gonna need to
that's
sit down with
rhetorical, that's
Lisa
just something
and Joy.
to throw out there, because we can't possibly afford everybody who wants books all at the same time.
I mean, I'm aware that there's a textbook cycle, so that we're not always buying math, history, science, and English at the same time, because those are your big hits. But you quite often team social studies with family consumer science, or English with foreign languages, so that and then it's just a consistent, rather than big spikes, it's a consistent, the cycle exists, I haven't committed to memory, but the cycle exists, and whether we veered from that cycle or not because of
We
different
have,
things.
and that's
Yeah,
my concern.
exactly.
In the last several
Exactly.
years, it has
So-
gotten lax there.
Yeah.
And just to avoid teachers coming forward
Yep.
saying that they need it, that it needs to go into the budget, just a heads up for Brandon,
Perfect.
that's all.
Thank you, and our goal is to get more in line with the actual cycle. And if the cycle needs, adjusted, because,
Which I'm
we're,
thinking it.
we're not buying any, we're not buying any FCS books anymore because it's all online, or, then that's an opportunity for something else, and we make those adjustments, and we pivot, as we can to, be fiscally responsible, but also provide everybody everything they need. And I think we're doing I think we do a really good job providing teachers with what they need, whether it's pieces of curriculum, and I know that this board knows that a textbook is just one resource. It's not even, it's not curriculum, like a textbook is just a resource. So the idea that maybe when I was in elementary school, you opened up the math textbook and that was the curriculum. We have evolved as educators, and now textbooks are just one resource along with other ways to teach the curriculum. The curriculum is aligned with state standards, and that drives your curriculum. Textbooks being one resource, if that helps at all. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, legislation and policy development, item A, Senate Bill 1014, discusses Senate Bill 1014, the bell-to-bell phone-free policy and how it pertains to Northern Cambria School District, as listed in Senate Bill 1014 to begin no later than the 26-27 school year.
So, and I'll speak for Sarah, my digestion of our student handbook and our rules and regulations, student conduct, we're really, really close. And the state has us till 27, 28 to get in line. So we're endeavoring to do it by 26, 27. The state allows districts that are all over the place, you know, there's some districts that they, you know, have access to their cell phones as a resource, you know. Instead of us buying calculators for everybody, we know everybody has a calculator in their pocket, whip it out and use it and go from there. Or if, you know, I don't need to memorize the progression of presidents anymore, I can look it up online. How do you look it up online is a more teachable way than what device you're using. So I think you know, as far as my interaction with the high school code of conduct and the elementary code of conduct, we're real close to begin with. We just need to button things up before we present them, our handbooks to you, and our code of conducts are contained within those handbooks. And then I think we'll be in line with the law by 26, 27, but even if we are not, we have a year to pilot our rules and our regulations, our code of conduct, to make sure we're completely compliant by 27, 28, which is what the law states that we have to be compliant by.
I have a question. The handout said that we shall adopt a policy. Now, do we have to do that as a board, or is your handbook good enough? We do have a policy. A bell-to-bell policy? I don't think ours is, actually, I think it is bell-to-bell, right?
I thought we said no phone, I don't know exactly how,
Yeah,
I thought
we
we
do have a
said no
policy
phone.
now. I don't know if our current policy is compliant with what the law will require in 27, 28. So we'd have to update that. We'd have to update the policy, yeah.
And I think I'll put my dad hat on for a second, I want my child to feel safe, and I think that's some of the concerns sometimes. That they want to have the access to their device to be, if something happens, or they wanna call mom, not because they're sick, but because something happened in the building. And I think we have means to address that, you know, I think that we do a really good job of communicating with parents when you have a third grader or a senior that is not feeling well, or is going through some sort of whether it's distress or illness, we communicate with those families, and I think that's one of the things that, practically speaking, we want our students to know, that don't pull out your cell phone to call mom to come get you when you're sick, or whenever you're feeling bad, or you're going through a situation. Talk to the adults that, you know, care about you, and then we'll get a hold of mom and dad, and we'll allow you to have access to phones and all those things.
Okay, item B, House Bill 17, discuss House Bill 17 and the inclusion of print, joined italics, and cursive handwriting to the subjects to be taught in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Again, Dr. Tibbet is, you know, on top of this, and it's my understanding that we never veered away really from cursive. We've had it included, so we should be in compliance with this bill as well. You know, and go from there. And that's a feather in this board and previous board's cap.
Okay, item C, IU8 board ballot. The 2026 IU8 board ballot will be distributed at the March 17th, 2026 regular meeting for a vote. Okay, personnel.
Item A, school resource officer, discuss a SRO agreement for the 2026-2027 school year.
You know, I think that, you know, annually we look at the services received for school resource officers. There's other entities that are willing and desiring to offer school resource services. And, you know, I can bring those other entities to the board for their evaluation, and make a recommendation from myself and from the administration and from the business office on, you know, remaining with our current partners or looking elsewhere.
We're good? Okay. Item B, leave without pay. Be it resolved, the Board of Education retroactively approves the request from employee number 3036 for a leave without pay from February 25th, 2026 through March 6th, 2026. Attachment number 5, and I will make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, sorry.
Any comments?
Any comments? Thanks.
Yeah, Toby, is this all good?
Is it, from everything I've seen, it is, yes.
Because it's all legal to do so.
Yes, okay. Do we want to do a roll call? Do we need a roll call? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries.
Item C, Ignite Education Solution Substitute. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the addition of the following to the Ignite Professional Substitute list. Shannon Hutzog, Emergency Certified Sub-Teacher. I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Mike, was that you?
Yeah.
Any,
You're
any
good.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries.
Okay, staff development. And student activities.
Item A, fundraiser calendar. Be it resolved, the Board of Education discussed and approves the following additions to the 2025-2026 fundraiser calendar. And you can read there in the agenda, the softball team has proposed some fundraisers.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I have a question.
Oh, yes.
Okay, this is a great cause, I did this with Harmony one time, or Glendale one time. But, when I was coaching, we were limited to 2 fundraisers, so we didn't step on each other's toes. Are we still following that or no? Like each individual activity could do 2 different fundraisers, so that you didn't overlap other teams' fundraisers.
This looks like,
No depth of
No,
knowledge on that.
this is different, this is fine. It was a question I had before, but since this just jogged my memory.
I can get you, I have no background, or I wouldn't even wanna comment on that.
And it's all because everybody was doing hoagie sales, and everybody, they were just,
Yeah, we're
they
selling
were
the same
just
people.
saturated.
Yeah, we're selling to the same people, yeah.
Yeah, and that was the only reason. Now this, I know this is different, it's just from before, okay? That's my only question, if you could find that out, okay?
I don't know what we're doing as far as that rule, but I know that the teams and the boosters have recently begun to, when they send in a fundraiser permission slip, they will list everything they do for the year, including like 50/50s at games, as well as like a hoagie sale. So I don't think many of our groups are doing like fundraisers per se that would overlap. It's more like just asking for all of the things that we do all season, whether game night,
Like spirit sale.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, but that's a good question, but I just wanted to clear that up, because I know we've gotten to the point where we are putting the whole season's worth of fundraisers onto one sheet, and it's more like game night stuff and any fundraisers.
Right. I can try to do a little bit of digging and get some clarifications.
Okay.
And I know that Mrs. Sedlock, being the keeper of a lot of knowledge, she may wanna contribute to that conversation.
We do limit the coaches to 2. They're usually limited, but we don't limit the boosters.
And I don't think boosters was included in that, it was the activity itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do I mean, did anybody ever slip by with 3? I can't guarantee that, but we do.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, just so
And
that
it's
they,
in their coach's handbook thing too.
yeah.
The coach's handbook?
You don't have one? I'll get you one. Ask Dan.
I should have been giving to you.
It goes with the paycheck.
With my paycheck, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you didn't get it. Okay. Good conversation. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries.
Item B, PJAS state competition. Discuss the request for Ms. Darty and 2 students to attend the PJAS state competition on May 17th through the 19th, 2026, held in State College, PA. The cost to the district will be $515, and you can see attachment 6.
This is the Pennsylvania Junior Academy of Science, and this is a lot of our STEM efforts, and it's our young students, not only recall, this is where we really push them for analysis, synthesis, and project building, and application of what they're learning in the class, and this is their opportunity to have those depth of knowledge and that higher order thinking skills.
Okay. Transportation, bus drivers, be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the addition of the following drivers to the 2025-26 bus driver list. Brianna Lamer. I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries.
Athletics.
Item A, fall volleyball tournaments. Mr. Pajak will schedule the volleyball fall tournaments in the absence of a volleyball head coach to meet any deadlines for their schedule.
And I did talk to him, he said they're already scheduled and secured for us.
Ready to go.
Yep.
We're gonna move to the addendum now. Item A, 2025-2026 baseball, softball lease and service agreement. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the 2025-2026 lease and service agreement between Northern Cambria School District and Northern Cambria Recreation Commission for use and maintenance of the South Complex baseball and softball fields. The cost to use the South Complex using NCRC equipment will be $4,100. See Appendix 1. And I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Comments?
Yeah, just a question for Toby, is it exactly what you brought to the board before for us to look at?
I drafted this agreement a few years ago. I haven't looked at it. I assume it's the
It
same one.
hasn't changed, nothing's
I'm
changed.
saying it
Except
hasn't
for the
changed,
price.
it's changed. Yep,
And just one point of order, there's no change in the cost as well.
Right, nothing changed at all.
That is-
All right.
There's no increase, decrease, it's the same level funded from last year.
Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries.
Item B, volunteer softball coach. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves Eric Smith as a volunteer softball coach for the 2025-2026 softball season. There is no salary with this position, and I'll make the motion.
A second.
All in favor?
Question, are the clearances in place?
I haven't checked them, I know Mrs. Sedlock is really steadfast in checking those, and she does a great job.
Are they in
They-
place before they were brought to here? They
Yes.
were- Okay, that's all.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries.
Okay, brings us to the end. Be it resolved, the committee of the whole voting meeting of the Northern Cambria School Board for March 3rd, 2026 be adjourned at 6:47 PM. I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's it.
Where's appendix number, where's the appendix on this? It's not in our computer.
Online version?
It's not.